So today we are talking about behind the mask and giving some thought to really what does that mean behind the mask? And for you folks that have been in the Lessons in Truth class, you're going to sort of get a refresher today on what this means, or so on. The mask. It seems that there's two. Excuse me. There's two parts of every one of us, and it seems as though at this time, the appropriate time to look behind the mask. You know, we are a personality. We're also an individuality. So we are both personality and individuality. And in Lessons in Truth, H.M. Katie, which Lessons in Truth has been considered the most basic unity book writing that we have. She says there's a chapter there on individuality and personality. It's an important chapter. I think it's extremely important because it deals with the deeper spiritual dimension of our being. Deeper spiritual dimension of our being. Unity, can be studied for various reasons, and people come into unity for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes, to be more successful, okay, in their life, their living, in their business, in their whatever, more successful. Sometimes it's for prosperity. They need to know and to learn that there is an abundance of good in their life. Oftentimes for a healing need. People come into unity oftentimes when it's the last straw, okay, for healing. And again, I want to share with you that we have Silent Unity down at Unity Village. There's 24/7. Someone is there 24/7 to talk with you, to pray with you. Anytime you want to call for any kind of a need, if it's a healing need, it doesn't matter. They are there, and we'll be praying a positive prayer for you and with you. Here at Unity Church of Rochester, we have also a silent prayer ministry. You can call the church anytime. My number is not a secret. And within 10 minutes, you're being held in prayer for whatever the need may be. 24/7. And I see people that have perhaps called me or called our church, smiling and shaking their head, yes. So anyway, so people call because they're looking to go through a challenge, a problem, or whatever, with less fear, less anxiety, to get on the other side of a difficult situation, perhaps. But to many truth students, the most important facet of unity is its help in the individual spiritual unfoldment. The concept of this distinction between your individuality and your personality gives the student a lot of food for thought, and triggers understanding on a much deeper level. Personality is the changing, and I'm going to identify briefly what personality and individuality means for the truth student. So personality is a changeable self of us. We all have a personality. It's a changeable self of us. Individuality is the unchangeable Son of God's self. That individuality never changes. It's always the same because it's the God part of us. It doesn't change. It does not vacillate. It's the image. Excuse me. It's the image and likeness of God's self, or the spiritual self of us, that we all are. That you, and you know, it never leaves us. Sometimes we wonder, but it's us that have turning consciousness. That individuality never leaves us. It's always there. Behind the mask of personality. Sue Sicking, a unity minister of many, many, many years, an outstanding teacher. We used to call her Mama Sue. And she wrote, personality is what we think we are at any given time. What we think we are at any given time. Individuality is what we really, really, truly are all the time. All the time. So we could put it this way. God created your individuality, and we formed our personality. And sometimes the personality, I mean more than the image that you present to, or that when I say you, I also mean me. Understand that. The personality that we present to other people in our environment. There are lots and lots and lots of books on how to improve the personality, how to dress and how to speak and how to do this and how to do that and how to do something else. But however, the personality, I mean, our deeper self-image. What do we see ourselves as being? What do we see ourselves? How do you see yourself? It's always composed of our beliefs about ourselves, our beliefs about how we live, our beliefs about whether you believe that you live in a world of unfriendly people or friendly. All of that is part of our personality. Plus. Our personality is composed of prejudices. I like this. I like that person. I like this color. I don't like. Okay? Prejudices. It's also has a lot to do with fears. Personality. Fears. Also our feelings. Our deep-seated feelings about self and about others. It isn't bad in itself, and don't misunderstand me. It is not bad in itself. It's merely untrained. Now, this mask that we talk about, that covers the individuality, our individuality, develops a kind of life of its own, sets its own values, its own belief systems, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I said that God created our individuality. Your true, unchangeable, unchanging spiritual self. God created that. But you and I formed our personality. And you know, anything that we form, we can unform, we can redo. We can redo at any time that we decide that I no longer want to be filled with fear, for instance. We can work with that idea of God being a present help at all times, a presence with us at all times, under all circumstances. So we don't have to revert back to being fearful, filled with fear and anxiety every step of the way in our life experience. So we can change that personality if we choose to, because we formed it in the first place. So we can reform it. So there's, excuse me, that is the secret of the aim of the spiritual unfoldment. To change, or to train the inner self, that the personality part of us, so that we're more accurately, it can more accurately and more fully express that personality, that individuality, as sons and daughters of God, the Most High, as Scripture says. That individuality that shines forth, that comes forth through what we call personality, the person, the persona. Okay, we talk about, Scripture talks about the prodigal son, and here it is again, as far as I'm concerned. Jesus wasn't just making jokes when he told the story about the prodigal son that went out and lived riotously and then came back and came back to the Father's house. You see, our personality does those kinds of things. It does all kinds of strange and wild and woolly things. And in Bible language, it can be the prodigal son. Okay? When we get a hold of and recognize that there's another part of us, that's a deeper part. There's a God part of us that we can allow to move through the personality, to move through that which we presently express, and have it a more fulfilling, more joy-filled, more loving experience, not only for person, but also for others. So you remember that the prodigal son came back to himself, okay? Meaning that we come back somewhere along our earth journey. We come back and recognize there's something so much more to life and living. There is that presence within us that can guide and guard and direct and protect and prosper and heal and etc. It's not just up to person. It's not just how smart we are, how much education we have, whatever. No, there's a deeper, a more fulfilling part of us, which is called the individuality. I believe that the main purpose in life and living is to uncover this individuality, to uncover it, to find it, to use it, to have it expressed more fully through us. And that Son of God or Daughter of God expression. So, excuse me, please forgive me. This new way might be called the new way of thinking. Involves accepting the belief that we are an individualized expression of being of God, an individualized expression of God. And so, as I look out this morning, I see an individualized expression of God in every one of you. That God part of you that expresses through you. That's the true you. It's sometimes called a shining idea, the God idea. Okay, the Christ is sometimes referred to as the Christ. Many are beginning to feel and to get a hold of this idea, this inner movement of your individuality, that divinity within you. So, work with your prodigal son personality and accept that the real cause, is a reflection of a false belief within you. Wherever there's fear, wherever there's anxiety, wherever there is this, what I'm talking about, negativity, look at it boldly and see it for what it is. It's a fear that perhaps you've bought into, you've accepted. And we have all the tools that we ever need to rise above it, to move through it, whatever fear, anxiety, problem that we have. But it's most important that we do look at it. Because the more that we release, the lesser, the more room for the greater to move in, to be a real part of our experience. Challenges are really opportunities. When you and I are when that as a prodigal son, when we're homebound, in other words, and we meet challenges in our life and affairs, outer challenges, circumstances, we keep our eyes always on the goal. Don't go along with what's being presented, what's right in your face, the negativity, the fear, the anxiety, the lack, the limitation, the illness, whatever. Don't zero into that. You have within, as I have within me, that individuality, that God presence, that Christ presence, that far, far, far supersedes the lesser. So, we can let go and let God. Let go of the lesser. In this book, I'll tell you in a minute. One thought can change your life. I face my ghosts with a smile. You see, these things, these untruths that we hold, we hold within us, we can really say they're ghosts. Okay, they're ghosts, and they frighten us. Okay, they change faces frequently. Okay, first is fear, then it's lack, then it could be whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I face my ghost with a smile. An Irish quote: "If you see a ghost and face it, it disappears before your eyes. If you turn from it, if you run from it, it will chase you the rest of your life." What profound words. In this moment, I become still and think this one thought. I face my ghosts with a smile. As I know who I am an individualized expression of God. Remembering there is only one presence and one power, God. I face my ghost with a smile. So, let's take a moment now. And in this awareness that we do have within us everything we need to move through any kind of a challenge that we may be facing or ever face. That presence and that power is absolute good God. I put together 3 affirmations for our meditation time. And I would suggest that you take this moment to release any concerns that you may have. And we join in consciousness, you see. We join in a consciousness of oneness, and a consciousness of God, and a consciousness of peace. We are surrounded and enfolded in love. In God's love. I am one with the Christ life that cleanses and restores and heals me. I am one with the Christ life that cleanses, restores, and heals me. And just gently, allow that statement to go from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind, and there it resides. Oneness, love, peace, wholeness, prosperity. I am one with the Christ life that cleanses, restores, and heals me. The harmonizing law of justice prevails in this situation. And all things are working for the highest good of all concerned. The harmonizing law of justice prevails in the situation, and all things are working for the highest good of all concerned. And again, you think on those words and then just gently release them. And any time, under any circumstances, they'll come to your conscious mind. The harmonizing power of God's love is at work, bringing understanding and right actions that leads to the highest good of all concerned. The harmonizing power of God's love is at work, bringing understanding and right action that leads to the highest good of all concerned. There's only one presence and one power. That presence and power of love is at work in your life and your affairs. And only good can come forth. Only good. And Father, how grateful we are to stand united in thought, in love, in peace, in harmony.